Thank you, Mike. My name is Brian Vogel, and as Mike said, I am the IT manager here at Daktronics. Our team focuses on the engineering tools and PLM activities for the company, which includes products like Creo and Windchill. I'm going through a little background information about Daktronics and its history with Windchill, and Tyler will be discussing the latest Windchill 10 experience. I will then discuss some of the benefits and the Windchill update for the end of the year. So Daktronics is the largest supplier of LED displays and control systems that drive them. We support product lines for schools and theaters, transportation, commercial, and live events around the globe. Some of our products include those shown, which include traffic wayfinding systems, commercial applications such as your local fast food restaurant, scoreboards that you might see in a high school gym, and the dreaded and ever-changing gas station display. Along the bottom, you'll see some of our bigger displays. The one on the bottom left is the Oklahoma City Thunder center hung. The center picture is one of our signs on the new Meadowlands Stadium. And the last picture is one of our mobile and modular displays. It's a half-meter stackable LED, and that is used in our Brooks and Dunn's concerts. Okay, Daktronics employs about 2,700 people working at 5 manufacturing plants in the U.S. and China. 2 of those being in South Dakota, 1 in Minnesota. We have a hoist and rigging facility in New York, and a manufacturing location in Shanghai, China. We also have a number of remote and home offices using the product around the world. 360 of these employees are in the engineering-related role, with just over 300 using Windchill on a regular basis. Windchill is used in all 5 manufacturing locations, as well as remote vaults being supported in New York, Shanghai, and one of our remote offices in Lawrence, Kansas. Daktronics has been using Windchill since January of 2008. Prior to that, we used a number of different systems for CAD tools. For Pro Engineer, we used Pro Interlink. For Centra, we used a tool called Centra 2000 that was used to store source content for AutoCAD, as well as PDF output for all the CAD tools. And we used network drives to store everything else. Windchill has been used as a storage system for our drawing content and managing revision control, but that will be expanding soon. We currently are running Wildfire 5, AutoCAD 2012 Mechanical, and pads, which we use for our PCB design. We currently have Pro-E and AutoCAD content managed in Windchill, and we are working with the Windchill 10 Workgroup Manager, or 10.1 Workgroup Manager, in the hopes to get the pads content off the network drives and into the safe and controlled comfort of Windchill. And as you can see at the bottom of the slide, we have our Windchill upgrade life cycle from the day we started until our Windchill 10.1. We upgraded to Windchill 9.1 in June of 2010 and completed the 10.0 migration early this year. And we have plans to update to 10.1 in December. So the primary reasons for moving to Windchill were to keep pace with the changes and fixes that Windchill provides, as well as to support the upgrades of our other CAD tools and that are supported by specific versions of Windchill. The primary reason for moving to Windchill 10 was to put ourselves in a position to have a foundational version of Windchill to implement enterprise parts and to start development of our integration into our ERP system. We also want to move forward with other Windchill functionality, including Parts Link, Project Link, and the implementation of change management. We're also looking at expanding our Windchill audiences by implementing Windchill web parts for SharePoint. Justifications pretty much mirror our reasoning for moving forward with Windchill 10, with focus on that foundational platform to support functionality, to the need to keep pace with the industry and our CAD tools, and to get our pads content in that controlled, shareable environment. I'm going to turn this over to Tyler, and he's going to cover some of the specifics about the Windchill 10 upgrade and how the upgrade process has changed as we've moved through our Windchill lifecycle.
We upgraded our Windchill systems from Windchill 9.1 MO60 to Windchill 10.0 MO30 in February 2012. To get an idea of how our system may compare to yours, our Oracle database is roughly about 130 gigs in size. Our vaults exceed 2.7 terabytes. Our vaults roughly grow at about 1 terabyte per year, and we have about 800,000 EPM documents and well over 70,000 WT documents in our system. For this upgrade, we continue to use our existing hardware from 9.1, but upgraded the memory from 24 gigs to 48 gigs on both the application and the database servers. The primary need for additional memory was on the application server, where we increased our method servers from 4 to 6 and used additional memory to support the new indexing tool. The actual time for our team spent preparing and testing for this migration was about 4 months, but calendar time was roughly 7 months due to an issue we encountered with our vaulting setup. We initially ran our migration to Windchill 10.0 in December 2011. We found some errors, which I'll talk about more here in a little bit. Overall, the cost and time and resources has significantly dropped in comparison to our Windchill 8.0 and 9.1 migrations. Look at some of the metrics we've captured. This graph here shows the projected timeline in months of our upgrades, starting with the initial migration into Windchill 8.0 and working down to our projections for Windchill 10.1. Yeah, this is actual data. It hasn't been massaged in any way, and people always kind of ask me that. This chart shows the actual calendar time between when we started the project to when it was actually implemented into production. The first migration is expected to be the longest, as we had to deal with migration of multiple legacy systems into Windchill. But the most telling portion of the graph is the reduced time from 11 months for the 9.1 upgrade to the 7 months required for 10.0. In reality, if we did not have the issues with vaulting, our straight line would look more like our other metrics you'll see here in a little bit, as the 10.0 upgrade only took us 4 actual months for preparation and testing. We expect to meet or exceed our 10.1 projections and expect that future migrations will consume less than 3 calendar months from start to finish. This slide represents the number of days it took for each of the migration runs into production. Our first migration took longer because we had to import all of our Centra 2000 AutoCAD data into Intralink prior to the Windchill migration. The upgrade from 9.1 to 10 was shorter, but may be slightly misrepresented here as we need to move this into hours instead of days. We significantly reduced the number of hours it took between our first attempt into Windchill 10.0 in December and our successful migration in February. Most of these gains were from the elimination of steps in our Oracle migration and file transfer processes. It was nice to get some sleep at the end of all those days. We expect that the total time for the update to Windchill 10 will take about 24 hours. Sorry, I think I said Windchill 10. I mean Windchill 10.1. Sorry about that. The next 2 slides will show our external costs for each of the upgrades. This slide shows that all the costs that were incurred to get each of these versions online. Costs can vary greatly depending on your hardware requirements, expected training needs, and due to any interface changes on those versions. Before I move to the next slide, note the comparison of consulting costs to the total of the other costs. In each case, the consulting costs are much higher, equal to the rest of the upgrade investment. The most compelling numbers are in the reduction in the amount of dollars spent as we move forward to the new versions of Windchill. PTC has made some great strides in making the process easier and reducing the amount of effort required to upgrade Windchill. These costs won't ever be eliminated, but we will continue to see a decrease with each update. Issues that we experienced with the Windchill 10 upgrade included changes that were made to the AutoCAD Workgroup Manager, an unforeseen issue with some vaulting files, and an increased need for memory on the production boxes. PTC made changes to the way the save and save as functionality worked in the Workgroup Manager for AutoCAD. Daktronics had some custom code created for AutoCAD, and this caused a definite roadblock. PTC worked with us, and the issue was corrected in Windchill 10 MO30. In December 2011, we upgraded our production server to Windchill 10, only to find out late Sunday afternoon that some objects were missing. This required us to do a full system rollback on Sunday night. We were able to identify that some of the vault files were not being moved out of the default cache vaults correctly, and we were able to resolve this issue. Our second migration went without a hitch. Memory requirements were also an issue, as the indexing tool now has to be run on the application server, requiring more memory for the background method servers. There were a number of positive changes to the migration tools that helped reduce the time it took to get through it. The first is improvements to the Windu application. For those of you not familiar with it, Windu stands for Windchill Diagnostics Utility. It reviews the amount of data. It reviews your data stored within Windchill and identifies any issues that may affect the migration process. Updates to this application cut months off our Windchill 10 migration process. These updates reduced the number of healing scripts that had to be run prior to the migration. The Windchill upgrade tool reduced the number of scripts and steps required to complete the migration. The upgrade tool now shows the process and time for each step, which made it easier for us to script and plan our upgrade. Some lessons learned that we can share are to ensure your test migration system and your final migration system are as close as possible. Our timings were drastically off when we started our migration on the production system, causing us to rework our resource scheduling. The production system actually took about a third of the time our test system did. Although it was very nice to get the good night's sleep, as I said earlier, it was challenging to get people to reschedule earlier in the day than we had originally told them. We also had to upgrade to Internet Explorer 9 on all of our engineering systems to eliminate some performance issues that we were experiencing.
Thanks, Tyler. So I'll go ahead and wrap this up here for Daktronics. So the benefits that we have seen of the Windchill 10 include performance increases, primarily when we open our CAD models and pull them into local cache from the server. Our users also like the new flyout search window, which allows them to modify their last search instead of having to retype in all the search criteria again. We believe the user interface is more intuitive, resulting in fewer calls and questions during its release. We also were able to eliminate all the custom search pages that we created for Windchill 8 and 9.1 environments. We also expect to realize benefits in the near future as we push forward with enterprise parts, our Windchill web parts 2.0 implementation, and with the ECAD and MathCAD integrations that we're working on. We also are preparing to implement Windchill Performance Monitor so we can better track how our systems are performing. And our preparation for Windchill 10.1, Daktronics are preparing for the 10.1 update in November or December of this year. We've run through a few test migrations so far, and we're currently testing the enterprise parts and the ECAD Workgroup Manager against those test systems. We expect to probably do another 4 or 5 migration runs prior to go live. And we will perform a majority of this migration internally. We expect minimal external consulting costs involved in those activities. And depending on the hardware life cycle for our current production system, we may consider moving those systems to virtual machines.